Hello and welcome to another knitting podcast. I finally got to sit down and film this, and unfortunately for filming, the weather turned really rainy and stormy, so the light is what we're working with, but I turned on the cozy lights. So hopefully you will be able to see what I have to show you. Not unfortunately, the weather is perfect for knitting, really cozy. So let's just enjoy the cozy vibe. Get a nice warm drink, you're knitting, a blanket. It's officially knitters season and I'm here for it. So if you're new here, I'm Teresa. I'm a knitter from the south of Germany. And yeah, on this channel I want to share all of my thoughts about knitting, which are a lot. So I would say, let's get right in. Wow, it's really raining right now. I kind of hope you will be able to hear this because I love the sound of rain. So in classic podcaster fashion, I will start with what I'm wearing, which is a very old work in progress. Finished object, not work in progress. Wow. Starting this well. So this is my champagne cardigan. Can stand up so you can see it. I knitted this in, I don't know, 2022, I think. It's knit out of La Mana Como, which is a lightweight yarn, and La Mana Pure, held double, and it makes for the most precious champagne color. I don't know if you see this, but it has a slight mall between like a bright white and then a more golden white, and I think it suits the name perfectly. It looks like champagne sparkles. And I really love wearing this. I think this is hands down my most worn knit ever. And I think it's to do with the yarn. It's really lightweight and yeah, it's easy to throw on. I chose to do dark buttons, so I think it also works with a dark shirt, but it works well with a white shirt or a red one I like to wear it with. So yes, a finished knit that I really, really love. Alright, so that's what I'm wearing. And today I have one finished object, which I can show you. And it's right here and also fitting the season. And it is the Maxine hot water bottle cover by Laura Penrose. Gonna do a close-up. So I finished this, I don't know, a few weeks ago now, and I have been heavily using it. And because it's gotten really cold here. So this pattern is knit in DK weight yarn, and I believe on a 4 or 4.5 millimeter needle, something around that size. And I kind of use this as a training project, I would say, for a bigger colorwork project that I will show you later. So this one is very easy colorwork, I would say. So if you're a beginner, you will be able to do this. There are no long floats for except maybe here to catch. And then it's always just 2 colors, not 3, which is also nice. And I want to talk about the yarn first and then go into my findings for the findings of the colorwork that I did. Wow, English, not Englishing today, bear with. So the yarn I used is a Merle yarn, which is actually a German yarn. And they promote that they use sheep breeds, like the wool of sheep, that would otherwise maybe go extinct because there is no use for their wool. So I think that's a really noble mission, and I talked about it a lot more in my last podcast episode. So the colors I worked with are these 3. And yeah, like I said, it's German yarn from different regions. This one is from the North Sea. This one is actually from Berlin. And the light blue one is from the Rhön. And I think that's really nice. So they are rustic to the feel, but I wouldn't say they are scratchy. They are mostly very dry. But I thought, like, for a hot water bottle cover that will not be on my skin for a long time, it will be fine. And yeah, it turned out fine. I mean, I take this with me to bed, also no problem. So I would recommend for accessories or something like that, maybe not for a sweater if you are really sensitive. And yeah, one thing I found really interesting is that it's a 1-ply yarn. Maybe I can show you. Oops. So as you can see, this is just 1 ply of yarn, and it kind of varies between thick and thinner strips. Like here is a thinner one, then here is a thicker one. But to be honest, in the finished project, you can't really tell, and I think they blend in really nicely. So for the hot water bottle cover, I modified it a bit, because when I cast on down here, I kind of noticed that I was off gauge a bit, because the yarn is a tad thicker than DK. So I believe, but I noted that down on my Ravelry, I believe that I didn't increase as many stitches and stopped earlier, which is why I have 1 repeat less of the pattern in here. And I think you can tell because, yeah, here you can see it. Like, normally it's a perfect match between the front and the back. They are identical. Because normally you have 4 of these stars or 4 of the repeats on the front and then 4 on the back. But like I said, I modified it, and now you can see that I have 3.5 for each side, which I don't mind, but yeah, just something to note, but it worked out well. Yeah, and then also, I mean, for the top I decreased less than also, and then once you're through the color work, you knit this huge collar thing, and normally I think it tells you to bind off loosely or change the stitches for an Italian bind off, but I tried the Ruche bind off, where you basically put your needle, like it's also a sewn bind off, but you put your needle through 3 stitches, slide 1 off, again through the next 3 stitches, slide 1 off. I think that's the rhythm, and it creates this, yeah, kind of bumpy border, which I think is okay. I mean, it was definitely faster than rearranging the stitches for an Italian bind off, but yeah, not too sure if I would do this again, to be honest. So that's it for my modifications, and now onto the color work part. So I wanted to try out yeah, different color work methods, also the whole thing about having a dominant color, and yeah, so I did make a few mistakes, or not mistakes, but trials that worked and then didn't work. So first of all, I think you can tell that the contrast between my blue yarns is actually not high enough. It's very visible here. Like normally here would also be the star motif that is down here, but you can barely notice it. So if I were to do a bigger colorwork project where I wanted to show off the different colors and the motif really well, I would really pay attention to having a high enough contrast between the colors. So that's one learning. And then for the second one, I tried 2 different methods of working colorwork. I'm a continental knitter, and so for my previous colorwork projects, which were mainly socks, I used to hold both strands in one hand, dividing it with my middle finger, and then just, alternating, grabbing my yarn, and that worked well. But I noticed for this project, which has a lot thicker yarn than fingering weight sock yarn, it kind of didn't work. The second strand that I had on my index finger always slided off, and it made me mad. And also it was really difficult to hold, like I got cramps in my fingers. So when I was right about here, I decided that I need to do something differently. So I, excuse me, I looked up a few techniques and decided to try the one where you have one color in your left hand and the other one in your right hand, and you do continental with this hand, which I'm familiar with, and then English style knitting wow with this hand. And yeah, I have never in my life done English style knitting, like the flicking, throwing, I learned it's called. Yeah, so it kind of took from here to here for me to get used to it. But I can now say that I've mastered the two-handed colorwork knitting. I mean, I really just needed to try and practice, and it worked out well. So for the first few rounds, it was kind of a struggle how to tension my yarn. But then I kind of got used to it, and actually I had the most success with just leaving the yarn, which I will hold in my right hand. I will just leave it hanging when I don't work with it. That's what worked for me. I think it's a bit slower than keeping it in my hand and doing the flicking. But I mean, it's okay for me if I'm a bit slower, but I can kind of control where the yarn goes and keep my tension okay, and also control the length of my floats, so that worked really well. Yeah, and I think the tension turned out okay. What else can I say about this? I think that's it. For the yarn, I used one whole ball of the dark blue, maybe half a ball of the white and the light blue. So I actually could make another one of those if I wanted to. So let's see. All right. This brings me to my second project. Wow, the sun is now really coming in here. Maybe I need to move a bit. Bear with. Alright, I think this is better. Sorry, the weather just completely turned. When I started filming, it was chucking it down and it was dark. Now the sun is shining and I believe we have a rainbow going on. So yeah, that's what we're working with. So, yeah, I was talking about the Maxine hot water bottle cover, and that it was kind of my trial run for a bigger colorwork project. Yeah, and that is the, let's call it, crossover between the Lillehammer 1994 and Trondheim 2025 sweater, which is a Norwegian colorwork jumper. And it's by House of Yarn or Dalegan. I didn't quite get what the difference is, but yeah, it's basically the ski jumper of the Norwegian sports team. And I decided to go for the Lillehammer 1994 as a base pattern, I would say, but then change out the motifs and use some parts of the Trondheim 2025 jumper. And I started, and maybe I will just show you before I talk about it. Oop. It's curling up. Yay! I got through so much of this. So, where do I even start? So, the yarn. Let's start with the yarn. I am using Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in the colorways Midnight, which is this dark blue, and I really like it because it's desaturated. So I guess from far away you would say it's a dark gray. Then I am using with it the cream colorway. Then for the, I can show you on the swatch. Is this actually my sticked one? No, here it is. So I'm also using Pearl Grey, which is this one here, Dove Blue and Dusty Artichoke. And these more colorful bands are right before the ribbing here. And then also again on the shoulders, and I believe on the start of the sleeves as well. And yeah, so I did a swatch and also corrected some, like I did 2 swatches actually. This was the first one, this was the second one, and I changed out some colors. So I noticed that the green and the gray had really little contrast, so I swapped it out and used the blue instead of the green. And then on this swatch I also tried my sticking method. This Colorwork sweater is knit from the bottom up and sticked at the armholes, which I have never done before. So I wanted to give it a try first, and I looked up that some people do a reinforcement seam with their sewing machine, which is what I did. They use a really small stitch length, so I think it gives more strength, I guess, or that's what I believe. And that's what I tried out here, and so far, I mean, nothing has really come undone. Like here you can see the seam. So that's what I also plan to do for my sweater. Let's see if that works. So that was one research point I did. And then the second one is that I looked up color dominance a lot. And I found out that you need to hold your background color to the right and then your contrast color to the left, which I did for this swatch, and it worked out fine. Like here, the background color is the dark blue and the contrast color is the white. So that's what I did for my sweater. And when I was about here, I kind of noticed that these stitches got lost a bit. And then I noticed, yeah, well, wait. For this section, it might be true that the black is the background color, but for this whole section, which will make up the most of the sweater, actually the white is the background color. So like I said, I was about here and I asked on Instagram if I should change the order of my yarns, but I'm kind of afraid that you will be able to tell, or if I should just keep it. And yeah, I just kept it. I mean, yeah, I think maybe these stitches would look a bit better, but I mean, it's fine. I think you can still like see the motif well. So that's kind of a bit of a fail, because I thought I was so informed going into this project and then I made this stupid mistake, but yeah, whatever. I think it's fine, no one will notice, I think, but yeah, I know now. So yeah, I'm kind of a bit all over the place today, but right. Let's go back to the start with this one. So like I said, I used Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino, and I'm using 4.5. Yes, 4.5 millimeter needles. I am knitting size S, the second size, because I did hit gauge, and yeah, they provided some. Sorry, there's hair all over. They provided some bust measurements, and I just thought that that size would fit well. And then I started. And I will insert a picture somewhere, but this sweater is all over Colorwork. So when I started, I was a bit afraid that I was a bit afraid that I couldn't judge the length of this one, because it's knit bottom up, and it's all over Colorwork, and you have to follow this massive chart. I'm not sure how long it will turn out to be, and I can't really control it. So I thought the thing that I can control is the bottom ribbing. So that is why I started with a provisional cast on. As you can see here, I have stitches on my needle. And I did it with a method where you cast onto a needle and then also a barber cord, and that worked really well. It was over 200 stitches, and I didn't find it too fussy, so it was okay. And yeah, now I feel confident that I can knit it to the length which is dictated by the pattern, and then just knit the ribbing longer, shorter, whatever I need to do. So that is why there are live stitches down there. And then you kind of go into this Colorwork motif, which uses these 5 colors, but it's always just 2 colors per round, so no need for 3 color work. And then you move up into this bigger section, and they repeat all over. And then from around here up, you go into sections where actually every round is different. And at first I was a bit scared, because you have over 100 stitches, like front and back are the same, but you have 100 stitches where every stitch is always different. But actually I just pull up the chart on my iPad and I zoom into the section that is kind of created here naturally, and I do it section by section. So I do this first section, then I do this, then I do this, and then it's the same again on the other side, and I think that works well for me. Of course, this is a project that I need to be very mindful with. But we were on holiday a few weeks ago, and I got to sit in front of the fireplace, and I had just my iPad with me with the chart. The fireplace was on, I was sitting there knitting, doing nothing else, and it was actually very nice. So yeah, I'm making slow progress, because like I said, first I'm knitting slow on this because it's continental on one side, then English style on the other, so that makes me slow. And then also, like I said, every round is different, but I guess that's fine. Ideally, I will have this finished for Christmas, and today, like the date of filming this, is the 24th of October, which means it's officially 2 months to Christmas. Yeah, so let's see. But I mean, yeah, no, I thought I'm very far, but I'm not. I can maybe quickly show you the chart though, and tell you where I modified it. I brought my iPad, and I always cross off the row that I already worked. And I mean, you can see the difference, right? These very white parts is where I modified it. So this is from the Trondheim 2025, and this also, and this center and the outer motifs and all of the rest is from the Lillehammer original sweater. And I mean, I can show you this, it's a free pattern. So yeah, if we look at this, I mean, I'm a third in, I would say, with the body. That's fine, I think. And I'm so looking forward to this ship. I think it's so iconic. So yeah, that's what I do. And I mean, like I said, I added some red lines for me, for guidelines, and I zoom in, and this is what I will look at while I'm knitting. And that works very well for me, at least. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about my ski jumper. I'm really looking forward to finishing this. I think it will be very epic. Yeah. So what else do I have on my list? Yeah. So this spring, I went to Ireland with my sister, and I already showed it, but I got some Irish yarn, of course. And we went to This Is Knit, which is a yarn store in Dublin, and they had some really nice Irish yarn. It's called Iri Cru, 100% authentic Irish wool. And I think it's Blueface Leicester and Romney lamb's wool, and spun by Donegal Yarns, which I think they have their own yarns also. And in the shop they had a very nice sample of mittens made out of this yarn, and they are called the Fishbone Mittens, and I tried them on and I thought they were really cute, so I decided to get kind of the kit for this one. And I have started the mitten, and I remember very vividly I started this mitten on the last very hot weekend we had here in Germany. So I started this in 30 degrees, which was fun. So this is what I'm working on. It has this cool fishbone motif, which is made just by crossing stitches. And if I remove my barber cord, this is what they are looking like right now. So yeah, now I already did the thumb, and I'm now just knitting up to my fingertips. And the yarn is fairly rustic, but it has really nice kind of darker flecks in. It comes off a lot cooler on camera than it is in real life. It's more of a beigey white. And yeah, I mean, I don't have anything to say about these. They are nice to work with. The pattern is by Michelle, what is her name? Anne Michelle Flan, sorry. Yeah, it's charted and written, and yeah, so far I'm enjoying it, going smoothly. I'm also cabling without a cable needle. I will make sure to link my Ravelry page where I linked 2 YouTube videos that show cabling without a cable needle very well. For one side I need to drop stitches, and for the other side I have a method where I don't need to drop them, so it's less scary. Yeah, I also was smart and when I kind of got sick or needed a break of the cable pattern, I already started the second one, so I can just work on them in tandem. Yeah, so right now I'm putting this one on hold and I want to work the cuff and the cable motif on the other mitten, so I hopefully don't end up on yeah, second mitten syndrome island. So that's that, and I have a second small project somewhere here. I mentioned that I am knitting socks for my sister, so if you're watching, Lisa, bye. I'm knitting socks for my sister for her birthday or Christmas, not too sure yet. And she asked for a broken seed stitch socks and I finished one since the last time. I used a color changing yarn as my contrast color, and for the main color I used Hobby Friends sock wool. And I think it turned out well. I mean, ideally these sections and my main yarn I would like to have more contrast between those, but I think it's fine. I did a 1x1 rib cuff and then a short row heel, which I enjoy the most, and then a classic wedge toe. Yeah, this is what they're looking like. I'm knitting them on 2.5mm needles, as I always do. And this one I knitted on magic loop because I cannot stand DPNs anymore. Like when I first started knitting, I used to knit every sock on DPNs, but now that I'm kind of used to magic loop, I can't. It's like the pointy side of the needle that you're not using always gets stuck in something, so yeah. And that is why for the second sock I borrowed some sock needles from my mom, which are actually the Adi Crazy Trio, and they are these 3 needles and they have this flexible bit in the middle, and I'm trying them out. So I did the cuff. Oops, it's tangled. So I already did the cuff and the short leg and then the heel, and I'm now onto the foot. And like I said, I'm testing these short needles from my mom. To be honest, right now I'm not convinced that I like them, because kind of the tip that hangs down while you're knitting with the other one also gets stuck in a lot of like in the fabric in my sweater. It's, I don't know, a sensory thing, I think. So yeah, trying those out, I will report back. But yeah, I think the socks are not my priority right now, but they're great to kind of take somewhere and knitting while watching TV or something. Yeah, because the broken seed stitch pattern is actually really easy. It's also a free recipe on Ravelry. It doesn't tell you how to knit a sock, it basically just tells you how to knit the pattern. so I guess I can tell you. So each round of the main color you always knit, and then for the contrast color you do a knit purl, and then you do another round of knits with your main color. And when the third round comes, you alternate your knits and purls. So you start with a purl and that is what makes this pattern change, and then you do another round of your main color in just knit stitches. So it's a 4-round repeat, and it's really easy to remember, and you can also read your knitting. Like, you don't have to remember if you started with a knit or a purl the round before. You can just see it very clearly. So that's nice. And I also like the transition here. Like in the foot I did just normal knit rounds and then changed to the pattern on the top. So I think that's very nice. Okay, I have only one project left, and that is one that I didn't think I would pick up again so soon, to be honest. I decided to pick up again my Sweet Shop blanket by Laura Penrose. I started it, I guess, in 2022 maybe, a long time ago, and for the longest time I only had 4x4 squares, and it kind of lingered in my yarn stash, and yeah, I just didn't have the urge to knit on it. But like I said, as the weather turned more gloomy, and also I had very busy weeks at work, I craved something easier than my Colorwork sweater, or also my cable mittens. I just wanted to have something simple that I can just sit and knit and not have to think about a lot. So I picked it up again, and oops, trying not to make something fall down. I keep it in this not very aesthetic box, but here I have the blanket itself and all of the yarn that I could potentially incorporate. I accumulated quite a lot of scraps or random single skeins of yarn that I don't know what to do with, and I collected like bluish, greenish and brownish colors, also grayish, in this box. And yeah, they fit together really nicely, and I think I can and will incorporate all of them into this blanket. So it's basically just scraps that I have, and the main color is Filcolana Avetta in the color 101. So I'm gonna get her out because she's really huge now. Let me see. I think I need to stand up, don't I? So this is her. Ooh. Wow, I'm too short. So wow, I'm quite amazed that I did so much on this. So when I pulled it out, I had 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I had 4x4 already done. And everything else I added in the last weeks. So 2 rows and this one. So all of this. Yeah, and I'm really happy with it. I think I'm now at the halfway point, almost. I calculated that with the white yarn I could do 55 squares in total, and I will try to use it up. I have 200 grams left now of the white, and I think 250 or something are already in this blanket. So yeah, really looking forward. I'm right now working on a blue square and the white at the top, and it's constructed really nicely. So when you start a new row, it's like one kind of construction for a square, but every other triangle then sits kind of in this corner between the row before and the square before, and it's always the same method. So really mindless. After a few squares I don't really have to look at the pattern again. So that's nice. I mean, you can do 1, 2, 3, 4 squares really mindlessly, and then I just have to loosely look it up again how to do the first one here, and then you kind of add on and on and on. And the cool thing is that now I can already put it over my legs while knitting, so that's very nice. It's knit out of DK weight yarn, so yeah, I'm either using DK weight yarn or holding a fingering weight double. That works fine for both. And I also had like maybe a bit thicker yarn than DK in there already, and you can't really notice. For one of these colorful triangles I'm using about 9 grams of yarn, so yeah, I can use up a lot of scraps. And I also had some 20-gram minis, like here for example, that I can do 2 squares with. Yeah, so I'm trying not to stress too much about the colors and how they are arranged, and I just think it will come together nicely as a very nice blanket. So very much enjoying this one right now. I mean, sometimes I feel like I have to knit on my Colorwork sweater because I want to get this finished, but yeah, for some reason I really crave knitting on this one. So I guess that's also fine, right? Yeah, and I think that was everything I have to show you. For plans, I want to do maybe a separate video. I'm not too sure. I'm not too much of a planner, but right now on my mind is the book club cardigan by Sari Nordlund and maybe the fluffy fleece vest. I was so close to buying boucle yarn this week, but I'm kind of trying to hold off because I do have a yarn stash and I want to use what I have. But yeah, maybe I will give in and also do a fluffy fleece vest. Let's see. Yeah, otherwise I really wanna finish like this row at least from my sweet shop blanket, and then work on my Colorwork sweater. So I think I'm all set with knitting. I have a lot to do, and yeah, I kind of feel like I was so looking forward to this episode, and I feel like it was a bit all over the place, but my mind is a bit all over the place right now because, yeah, like I said, we're having a really stressful work times, not only this week but also the weeks before, jumping between a lot of projects there. So I think that's just my brain being still in work mode. But I think that will also slow down now as the weather gets cozier, and I'm really cozy and I'm having a great time knitting. I'm loving my hobby right now, loving all the cozy knits, and yeah, with that I think I will see you in the next one, and I hope you're knitting on very nice and cozy things. Bye!